Hi, Gaye DeRusso with Majestic Rider here today with Khaleesi, so I'm making her new owner a video. She was in for training, but not for very long. So, she's a great horse. She's 6 years old. She's a Kentucky mountain horse, gray Sabino, very cool color. So she's going to stay this color most likely. And the things with her, when they're not in training long, when the owner takes over, they have to practice because it's not finished. So you have to practice for long periods of time doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. So the first thing with her is Khaleesi was fine with the mounting block, but used to walk off. So you want to get on and stand here. And so I held her in the beginning to make sure she was going to stand. So you want to get on, check your girth, do all sorts of stuff. And you can feed them cookies, whatever you want to do, but you want to get them used to standing because so many of these horses, see, she started to move, are used to people getting on and then going. And if you do that, well, then know your horse likes to take shortcuts. They all do. They're people pleasers, so they're like, if you get on a walk, how about I walk off while you're getting on? And you're like, I don't like that. And the horse goes, I think you do. And so that's what they start doing. So always get on, sit there for a couple of minutes, or sit there for 5 minutes if the horse is really bad, until it is positive you're not going to walk off. And then do that every ride, every single ride, until it's really set in that horse's head that you're not going to walk off. So see, I just reached up for her bridle, but she's still sitting here. So then what I do is when I'm ready, I always use leg. A lot of people shorten up their reins, and they walk off. And so the horse gets in its head that the cue for walking off is shorten the reins and not leg. So you got to be very clear. If you shorten your reins, do not move. Always use your leg. So then other things we taught her is the lateral flexion. And I've been taking her a lot on the trail. So all of this stuff, it's hard when you're deciding, hey, we got 30 days or less than 30 days. What can I put on this horse? What does she need? And what do I think the owner can do? So I think the owner can do this lateral flexion, but everybody does it a little bit different with different pressure. And so Khaleesi's very light, so you just got to do it with light pressure and teach her to do this. And if she walks circles when you do it, use less pressure, but just wait it out. I don't stop them from walking unless it's really bad and they're walking around for minutes. Because once they understand, they're like, oh, I get it. I just turn my head side to side. Some people don't like to do this. They like their head to be connected to their feet, so they like the horse to move. I like to do this because we ride on trail and stuff breaks, and I want to make sure I can get that horse's head around if I need to. Then you do the vertical flexion, which she's already got her head down, so that's not a problem. And she's trotty, so we don't want her head down too much. So these are things I would practice in the arena with her or practice around the barn if you're not going to ride in the arena. So the next thing is one rein stops. Hold your hand up, sit back, breathe out. Whoa, reach down halfway, pull the horse around. Horses don't know this, and they won't do it well if you don't teach it. So it's an emergency stop, very important to do, okay? Then you just sit here. If the horse walks off, you do another one rein stop. If it stops and it walks off again, you do another one rein stop. If you have to do 100 one rein stops, that's what you got to do to get the point across to the horse. Then everybody wants to lift their hand up to go. Don't do that. Just keep your hand down, squeeze. So when I'm doing these, I'm steering a little bit. They're always attracted to the other horses. Every single horse does that. Okay? So this puts a good stop on your horse too. So sit back, deep breath in, out, slide your hand halfway down, whoa, and then pull. So I like to say whoa first to make them understand that they have a chance to stop. And then if they don't stop, see her walk off, I just do another one. And no leg. I'm not using any leg, okay, unless I want to go forward. But it teaches the horse how to listen to your body, that when you sit back and breathe out, it's going to be time to stop. Now, she just adjusted her feet. That is perfectly fine. She was getting more comfortable. She's carrying me. So that I'm not going to stop her. And that's awareness. You have to know when they're fixing their feet or when they're going to go walk off. So if they take a step, but then they take another step and another step, they're going to walk off. So just do it again. So try to do these at least 5 to 10 in the beginning when the horses are bad or it's a real forward horse. I will do thousands of these. It really teaches them a lot. So sit back, breathe out, whoa, halfway down, turn. So she used to come in and just go fast, but you see she's walking. She doesn't totally get the one rein stop because I haven't done a ton of them because, again, I think the owner can do this when she gets home. Okay, and I chose to take her out on trails and expose her to crazy stuff and put her in groups and ride her alone, and you just can't do all that in 30 days. It takes me 40 minutes to trail her out to a trail, so it's an all-day event. Whoa. Now, she started slowing down. She didn't get it, but so she's almost there, okay? Now, she moved a little bit, so I did another one rein stop, and then I'm going to stand here. So do that over and over again, okay? The next thing, which is good to do, especially if you have a pacey horse, is now just walk it around the arena. You can walk over the poles. If you've done this well, you should be able to walk on a loose rein. If you can't, well, then just stick with those one rein stops until you can get on a loose rein. So you see, I just keep pulling out with my hand, and then I'm just sitting here relaxed. You can be like this if you want. But you're just going to pull out instead of back because I'm not slowing her down. If she just took off right now, I would just do another one rein stop and start again. The reason you want to walk is to loosen your horse up, to warm up its joints, to get its legs separated. Now, some of you might have a walking horse and it might have a big camel walk. I know some of you don't like to do it, but if you can, you know, if it doesn't hurt you back, then do it a couple of times around each direction, and then you can still trail walk, but then you can shorten up and collect it and shorten that stride. If you bring that horse's head down, it will usually decrease the amount of back and forth because they won't shake their head as much. So it's a way to kind of fix your camel walk. Those horses that camel walk are some of the smoothest horses out there when they're fast. Sorry, it's windy. They're just not smooth when you're going slow, but that's not what they were bred for, to go slow. So if you want to walk and go slow the whole time, don't get one with a camel walk. Okay? Test it ahead of time, but usually need a shorter strided horse. So you see she's quite good. So now let's go the other way. But you could walk around a couple of times each direction, just getting their footfall independent. Remember, you want their feet to hit the ground 4 times when you're trying to get the gait, and that starts at the walk. If they can't walk without pacing, you got a problem, and you got to stay at that walk and get their legs separated at the walk. Otherwise, you're just going to be chasing the gait forever, and you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to hate that horse. So don't do that. Just get your walk first. Go backwards before you go forwards. The problem that, you know, why these horses don't gait well is either they were trained well, and the new owner who took it over knew nothing, totally messed the horse up. Those are easier to get back. You're like, oh, I think he does know something. Now, she's speeding up. If she speeds up anymore, I'm just going to do one rein stop. The other horses, yep, she's speeding up. And you might be like, what? She's flat walking. I didn't ask her to flat walk. Now, she's speeding up probably because we're going towards her friends. So just do a one rein stop and sit there. See her go off again, so do another one rein stop. But you have to do this over and over until you're consistent and the horse understands. Every time I walk off when she doesn't ask, then I just get another one rein stop. Now again, it can take 20. It can take 21. You just do it as many times as you have to do it, but each day it'll get better. So that was probably 5 times I had to do to get her just to stand here. Now don't walk off, stand here for a bit, and then we'll walk off. Okay? But she started flat walking. There she goes again. The temptation's too much. She's like, look at that hot buckskin over there. Okay? Now, if she keeps doing this, then I might spin her in a circle. So see her keep going? I'm like, okay. So let's just disengage your hindquarter. She's like, I don't want to. So left rein, left leg. And then, when I stop, I'm going to try and stop facing away from those horses because they're too much temptation. Ready? I'm going to try and stop. Well, she's still facing them a little bit, so we might fail. Yep, we fail. So, when they won't stand still, I just go, okay, I've done a bunch of one rein stops. You're not getting it. How about we spin a couple of times? And then I try to set them up to do okay and face them this way because there's a nice stallion to look at down there. And then she's not as tempted. But you see she's turning. So I'm just going to keep correcting her even though I'm not looking at you. So make them stand for a bit. And then you can walk off. Okay? But the problem is, now I'm going to squeeze. And then I'm going to turn. Is probably no one did this with her. So she doesn't know. So that's one thing. Is they haven't been trained, or 2, that I was saying, is they were trained, somebody bought the horse, didn't know what they were doing, totally messed the horse up. So those horses, you'll get it back faster, but they might have some bad habits, okay? So now we're going to walk some circles. You can do this around trees. It does not have to be in the arena. You want to walk circles and get the horse bending and giving to your leg, because that is going to help your horse separate its legs if it got too pacey. So circles are very important, and even though you just want to trail ride, it's important to know how to make a circle in case you're waiting for your friends to go around a tree, or maybe you got to get out of the way. And horses don't know how to bend. You got to teach them. I have videos on that. Otherwise, they just fall in like an airplane, like, and they become very unbalanced, and it becomes more unbalanced because you're on their back, and bad things can happen. So teach them to bend. Teach them to arc their body when they go around turns. But you do have to help them. So there it was right rein and leg, and my left rein and leg were supporting. Now I'm going to this other pole. And so now it's going to be left rein and leg, and then my right rein and leg are supporting, okay? Now, again, she's trotty, but we're just walking, so I don't mind that her head is down. But when we start going faster in her gait, the trotty ones, you usually have to keep their head kind of wither level or a little bit higher than that, okay? If they get too low, the use of their muscles changes, and so they start doing different gaits. So you got to know that with gaited horses. The frame you ride them in, where their head is up and down, the tension and relaxation they have in their body, it all affects gait. Besides, you're dealing with the footing that's in the arena, that also affects your horse's gait, okay? So if your horse goes to one arena, doesn't trip at all, and the other arena, it trips all the time, you got bad footing in the trippy arena, okay? So now we're going to serpentine. So these are things I teach the horse. I use it on trail all the time. But again, if people don't practice it, or they don't do the maneuvers correctly because they didn't come here and take lessons, I don't know if they're doing it right. So they might say, I serpentine the whole way home and my horse won't slow down. And I go, oh, I don't know. I'd have to see it. Get a GoPro, get a PIVO, do something so I can see what's going on. Because sometimes as trainers, we give wrong advice, or you take the advice out of like an article, and it's totally different than the problem you're having, and then you're like, that didn't work, you're horrible, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? You didn't send me a video. I don't see what's going on. I'm not magic, okay? And I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. I'm just giving free advice. You have to take that advice and use it properly. But if things aren't working out, or I'm saying stuff and it's not working, it's best to get a trainer, get some eyes on you, or take online lessons, and then I can fix a lot of things. But you'll see at the clinic, I was talking to one woman, and she said, I said, sit back, and she said, well, you said tilt forward if they're pacey, and I go, yeah, but your horse is having temper tantrums, and he's going to hurt you, and he actually can gait quite well. It's just he's pacing because he's anxious. So things can be totally different, and you have to know that, okay? So what I'm doing now is I'm starting my arena routine, and I'm going to cut this video probably in half because it's going to be too long, okay? But when I'm doing the arena routine, I'm practicing things they need on the trail. I don't let them just stop to go to the bathroom unless they are super speedy, because when you trail ride, nobody wants to wait for your horse to poop 20 times, okay? It becomes annoying. So I try to keep them walking if possible. And some horses learn to let one little poop out every 2 minutes so they get a break, okay? So she walks pretty well. Occasionally she gets a little bit pacey in her walk, not bad, but if she does, you walk over poles, walk over bushes, walk over branches, walk in the deep grass, walk in the mud, walk over rocks. That's why you read that stuff over and over, and then people go, my horse is pacey, and I go, did you do any of those things? They go, no. Okay. So you got to put in the effort. You got to learn how to ride these horses well. That's just a fact, and people will lie and say, no, you don't. Gaited horses are easy. They're extremely difficult. They're easy to sit on when they gait well, but you have to get them to gait well, or you buy one that gaits well and learn how to ride it, because you might mess it up if you don't learn how. Okay. So we are just flat walking. She's got a short stride, so you'll see her head shake, but it's not a ton. You'll see her back foot is not reaching way over her front foot like with some of the walking horses, but these make very sure-footed horses. What I'm trying to do is lengthen her stride at the flat walk, and she does it even better on the trail. I can just ride her like this, and she just shakes her head and goes. But in here, because they get bored, and there's, you know, we're going in circles, why should they walk faster? I'm pressing with one leg and then the other, just lightly, okay? And I have spurs on, but I'm not using them. I just keep them on because I'm lazy, so they're there if I need them for a horse, and I just keep my heels off of them if I don't need it. So with her, I'm alternating my legs. So it's kind of going with her barrel, her stomach. So it's right, left, right, left, right, left. Now there I pushed a little hard because I was trying to show you guys, and I made her go a little too fast. So you get ready with your half halt, which is to squeeze and relax on the rein. As you're doing it, now we're going to leg yield. So if I pushed and I felt her start to get a little fast, I'd do a half halt. The hard part is you have to do it at the right time. You have to do it with the right amount of force, so not too much and not too little, and that takes practice. I can't tell you, hey, this is how hard you squeeze, because you're going to squeeze different than me. If you're a man, your one finger is going to squeeze more than all my fingers, okay? Because most of you guys are pretty strong. I would like to have some of that testosterone to see what it's like, but I'm not going to get any. And so if you're weak, have arthritis in your hands, you might have to squeeze pretty hard. So to get them to leg yield, I have detailed videos on this, but you basically pull your hands towards the fence, right rein open, left rein against her, and then left leg goes on and off. So I push her over, and then when she moves over, I remove my leg, but I'm doing it very lightly. You can also shift your weight the direction you want to go. So if I want to go to the right and she wasn't going to the right, I would shift my weight to the right and then push with my left leg. Now, the hard part with leg yielding is sometimes they get too sideways, sometimes they don't move over, sometimes they speed up. So as you do it, half halt at the same time. So leg in your hand at the same time, like now. So I'm guiding, but I'm half halting every time I push with my leg. So that way she knows to keep going forward and sideways, but not to speed up. She's just going to keep that same speed. So that half halt kind of shuts the front door just a little bit so she can't speed up too much. So I do this because, again, it's going to help with their gait. So I'm trying to give people all the tools so if they lose their gait, they can get it back, or if they bring the horse over, I can get it back for them. Okay? If your horse is going too sideways, I go over a step, then I close the door, I close my right rein and leg, go forward a step, and then over a step, and I just repeat it over and over. Okay? Now, I'm going to do a little shoulder in. That's in another video. All these things are going to help. Now, she just spooked. I just slid the bit just a little bit because it was the quickest thing I could get to, and then I just shortened up, like I hear Terry. So he already came out and shot the gun. You see, I always have a vest on. There's no warning. He just comes and does things. Terry's like a trail desensitizer. He comes and does crazy stuff, and I try to ride it out and get the horses over it. So you get used to what you have. You prepare. And then you're like, you got to deal with it. You can't yell at your neighbor to stop mowing their lawn because it's scaring your horse. You just got to get your horse over the mower, okay? So don't yell at people. Don't get in fights. I appreciate that Terry actually does that stuff because it helps these horses get over a ton of things, okay? The shoulder in is going to be helpful. You can do that going down the trail if your horse is getting pacey or trotty. It usually helps with both, okay? But with pacey, I might bring their head down as I'm doing it. With trotty, I might bring their head up a little bit as I'm doing it. Okay? But so you see she's got all the basics. Okay? Now, the things in my arena routine, which are on my website, it's like a basic dressage routine, which means training routine. So I practice in all the things the horse needs to know for trail. Whoa. So all I did to stop her was take my leg off, sit back, deep breath in. I never pulled on the reins. That's what the one rein stops have taught her and what I've taught her. And then every time I stop, I back her up. So squeeze, then I release. Squeeze, then I release. Now, she's crooked, so I steer at the same time. So I'm going to open my right rein and right leg because she got crooked, and then I'm going to keep backing up till she's straight. So whatever you let them do, good girl. Now squeeze your legs and make her go. Okay? Always use your legs, not your hands, to make them go. Hands should mean stop. Legs mean go. Okay? And why is that? Because when you need to stop and you're falling off, guess what you're going to do? You're going to pull on that horse. Even if it's by accident, you're going to pull. And if you taught your horse to go faster with your hands, you know what it's going to do when you're falling off? it's going to go faster. It's going to go so fast you are going to fall off. But say I started falling off and I went, whoa, she might stop for me. It's not guaranteed, but she might. So that's what I'm going to use. So I always back up after it because it makes their stop so much better. And then if your horse is bad at standing still, I stand for a little bit, then I squeeze with my legs and off I go. Okay? So I try to do it 3 times each direction, so that gives me 6 backups per ride. That's going to make my horse pretty good. If I need it even better than that, well, maybe I'll do 10 or 20. Okay? Depends on the horse. But you see she's walking slow. She has calmed down a lot since I have started training her. She used to be really fast, but she also wasn't out a lot. So now she's getting the hang of it. So I flat walk, and then, again, this is going to be our last stop and back up. And then I'm going to back up. Now, if you got a bad horse, it's really stuck on go. After you get this done, you practice doing it at higher speeds. Do that one rein stop at higher speeds and do your stop and back up at higher speeds. Now we're going to do our turn on the forehand, also called disengaging the hind quarter. So right rein and leg, and then the left rein and leg to support. If she started to walk off, I'd actually pull on my left rein. Okay? So that was pretty good. She's continuing to spin. She's an overachiever. Don't get mad. Just let them settle. Good girl. Okay? And when you're teaching and things are difficult, you can give a little treat here and there. You don't have to. You can just give them a nice scratch and a nice rest. But the forward horses aren't going to want to stand very long, so that's not going to be a release for them. They want to move off. So you make them stand a little bit, and then off you go. It'll get your job done faster anyhow. And then in time, once those horses relax and understand they don't have to do so much, they'll slow down. But you got to be consistent. That's it. It's consistency. Okay, so we're making our circles. We're doing our flat walk. And so I made the small circles to begin with, then I made the serpentine. Now we're on to the big circles. I'm sure you guys get bored of my arena routine. Now, I don't change it up a lot because I have it written out, and I'd have to write 20 arena things for every different person. So I try to make it the same. Give the horse the basics, give the owner the basics. I'm alternating my legs right now, right, left, right, left, right, left. Just going with her belly. Her belly slides back and forth, and I'm just following it. But I keep the same arena routine because it makes it easier. Then once you learn it, you can change it up. You can add things, you can minus things that they're doing well, and then you don't got to go back to them as often unless they're bad. Like their stop got bad, go back to your one rein stops. Go back to your halting and backing up. Okay? So she has a nice flat walk. I like this horse. She was fun on the trail. She has some energy to her, but she wasn't crazy, especially for her age. So horses like this are only going to get better if you do the right thing. Horses like this are only going to get worse if you do the wrong thing. So that can happen to any of them, okay? So you got to know. It's time to shorten our reins. It sounds like Terry's getting his gun ready. And you got to know that it's you. I have heard so many people, they go, yeah, I bought a 2-year-old Rocky Mountain horse. It's 12 now, and it's never gaited. Something's wrong with it. And I go, no, something's wrong with you. You bought a horse that's gaited. You never trained it to gait. So how would it know to gait? Because each gaited horse is different, and so some are trotty, some are pacey, and some just gait. Sometimes you don't know that when you're young and, or you bought a yearling. Like, you don't know. Even though the parents were completely gaited, your horse might trot or pace. Doesn't mean it won't gait. It means you need to learn to know what to do to help that horse learn. And I think, if you're going to get into gaited horses, she's not moving over, so I hit her with my spur. Now I'm straight. Over again, so we're doing our leg yield. But I think one of the worst things to do is get one of these horses. You want it to gait, and other people want horses to gait, and you don't train it. You don't do anything about it to get it to gait. You don't learn how to ride it correctly. And then at 15, you sell it, and you go, it doesn't gait. We can still get it to gait, but it's harder, but we still can. But wouldn't it have been nice if you had done that so the next owner, if you had to get rid of the horse just gaited. And it's much easier to sell horses when they gait. When they gait, they're calm and they're trained. Guess what? Everybody wants your horse. But when it's crazy, it's untrained, and it doesn't gait, nobody wants your horse. And you might have put over $100,000 in that horse over the past 10 years in care. you're not getting to get a quarter of it back. You might get a couple thousand if you're lucky. So bad horses don't sell well. Good horses do. And if you want the best home for your horse, if something ever happens to you, train it well. Make sure it gates. Get the help. There's no excuse anymore. I give online lessons. Other people do too. I give voiceovers. Pick and choose who you like, but do something. Okay? All right. So we're almost done with our leg yields. I do polls with the trotty horses. It builds up their stifles. It builds up their top lines. I just don't do it as I'm going faster unless they're getting pacey. Because when I go to saddle gate her, if I keep going over those poles, it's going to make her hard trot. Okay? And I don't want to do that. At times, some of the horses like this that are trotty, they will do a saddle gate, they'll fall into a foxtrot, and they'll flip back and forth between those two. The hard part is if you can't feel it, you don't know they're doing it, so you can't do anything about it. So you got to feel when there's a soft bounce in the saddle, that's your foxtrot. And whatever gait you want that horse to do is what you have to teach them to do. So if you want it to foxtrot, every time it saddle gates, bring its head down, slow down, half halt, and you should get your foxtrot back. If you want a saddle gate, you might have to raise its head up a little bit if it's trotty and kind of push it sideways and hit it a little bit with your leg. Usually the inside leg twice works well in some horses. And get it back into its saddle gait, and then always stop and reward when it's doing the right thing. Okay? If you stop and reward when it's pacing and trotting because you're tired, you just taught it to pace or trot. So remember that. Okay? So if you're getting into gaited horses, I'm not here to steer you away. I would like to steer everybody into gaited horses, but you do have to learn how to ride. And you should learn how to ride anyhow because it's much safer. I can't tell you how many people I see that can't ride, have had horses a long time, and accident over accident keep getting different horses. And I go, it's not the horses, it's you. If you don't take any lessons, you should just give up because you're doing the wrong things at the wrong time. And you're making all these horses into bad horses. Okay? All right, so we did a little of our shoulder in. Now we're going to stop and back up. So remember, make them back up straight. Whatever you let them rest is what they know. Whoa. So see my legs come off? And it's magic, people. I didn't ask her to back up. She said, I'm smart. I'm a girl. I got this. Good girl. So I'm not going to stop her from backing up. Some of you are like, she's anticipating, blah, blah, blah. You know, when you're teaching them to canter or whatever, I go, the horse is trying. That's what it's trying to do, what you asked. So if it does it before you asked it, but you were going to, it read your mind and it knew because you gave it signals you don't know you're giving it. Whoa. Now that one, not as much, right? You know why? Because I'm headed back towards those horses. So anything away from the horses will work better. Anything towards the horses, she's going to get a little distracted. That's just normal, right? It's like you seeing a hot guy or girl, somebody's talking to you and you're like, what? Ooh, yeah. Oh, what? So same with the horse. She's like, oh, I want to get over to these guys, these geldings. Oh, and those mares, they're my friends. I want to hang out with them. And she gets distracted. It's normal, okay? So if you want them to walk faster, head towards their friends. You want them to walk slower, head away from their friends usually helps, okay? You can use those things. Don't just get mad at them. Just be like, I found another tool. Okay, one last stop and back up. So legs off. See how quick she stopped compared to the other side? Now I'm going to start her back up. So I squeeze, relax on the rein, and I use my leg. So when I squeeze, I push with my leg to tell her to go. So the hand tells the direction, the leg says go. And that's how she knows the difference between backing up or me just asking her to put her head down. Because we do all these things that are similar. I just put pressure on her head. But see how she didn't back up? Because I didn't add my leg. Now we're going to do our turn on the forehand. So left rein and leg, right rein and leg support. Good girl. Okay, so now we're going to take a break for a minute. So I like them to sit on a loose rein and just hang out because a lot of horses can't do this because they're stuck on go. Okay, so Khaleesi's doing really well, but they got to continue her flat walk. They want to do that for long periods of time. So if they want that stride longer and they want a speedier flat walk, well, guess what? You're only going to get it by doing it. If you just keep saddle gating, it's not going to get much faster. So you got to work on what you want. And that's hard for people to realize that this is work, okay? The horses, the nice thing is most of them are very willing. They don't know what you want, but they'll try. And if you repeat it with good feel and timing, they will do it for you. The bad thing about people is they usually won't. We're lazy, we don't want to do it, and we just want the animal to do it for us and sit up here and not do anything and talk to our friends. That's not how riding works, and that's what gets you into an accident. Be with your horse. It's a partnership. Show them what to do. Practice it. You'll get better and better. Okay.